WNS expanding our conversation here to include charities in the community. Everyone knows on Thursdays I've been doing a series here for the beginning of the year on charities and the community and trying to spotlight stories. And I'm going to be really honest with you. These guys are one of the reasons I did this series, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Howard Bank as well as at Cole Roofing, and I'll tell you more about them in a little bit, but these guys came to me a number of years ago, and they had this knucklehead thing they did in their neighborhood, which reminds me of what I would do in my neighborhood. They're from the Pikesville area. They invited me out to be, I don't know, sort of the grand marshal of their proceedings a number of years ago. At that time, their beautiful sister was fighting for her life and battling this thing called leukemia that I only really knew from a movie in 1973 and Brian's song and the Piccolo story from many, many moons ago. They lost their sister Rachel a number of years ago, about 6 years ago, and then 2 years later, my wife was stricken with leukemia. My wife is in the other room right now. They have lost their sister, and they've turned over this thing that began many, many years ago that I think their sister participated in. If you're familiar with it, it's because these guys are a two-man wrecking crew of publicity and marketing, and they're really one of the reasons, one of the inspirations, quite frankly, behind what I've done here in trying to spotlight 2 or 3 or 4 guys like them doing local things like Tour de Court. If you want to learn about the Tour de Court, you can look it up at tourdecourt.org. But I'm going to invite my friends Sam Minkove and John Minkove in from parts unknown. I know one of them lives up in New York, one of them's banging around Baltimore. And first off, fellas, it's once a year, same time every year, we get together and try to help you promote what you're doing this weekend. I'm sorry I'm a little late. The Capitals have made this a little later than I wanted to, but the Tour de Court now in its 24th year. John, I'm going to let you start as the spokesperson for you and your brother and your late sister Rachel, who I had a crush on, as you know. And, and now that this has happened to my family, I really tip my cap to all the money you've raised for leukemia and lymphoma and the LLS. But, John, take the floor and tell everyone about Tour de Court in 2018.
Hey, Nestor. Thanks for having us on. So, yeah, as you mentioned, you're familiar with the event because we did have you on. But we had you on at a time where there sort of was little to none of a altruistic purpose. It was just some sort of silly little tradition we started as kids. And basically we just it's a basketball tournament that requires the participants to ride bicycles and go to different neighborhood basketball courts playing. It originally was 2-on-2, then it became 3-on-3. And
so this is literally from your childhood. Literally in your childhood, you would, like we did in Colgate on the east side, and you did this in Pikesville, you would get on your bikes and go and play basketball. I mean, we did that every day of our life as kids.
Exactly, and that's how it started. I mean, we just, bored kids on a lazy summer day in the mid-'90s. And just we would ride bikes and play ball. So all right, let's just make a tournament of it and invite all our friends. And it's one of the things we said we'll do every year, and we actually did it every year. And it got to a point where we finished college, we're still doing this. Where some people are in grad school and onto professional lives.
It was really like a neighborhood homecoming, as I remember it. I mean, you guys had me come to MC it and Grand Marshal it, I guess, a decade ago. Your sister was involved in the fight at that point, and I thought it was just the funniest thing in the world that you wanted me to come over there on a Sunday. You called me and said, come over and officiate for a little while. We want to have like a local celebrity. And I said, why'd you call me?
That's right. Well, we couldn't get the A-listers.
Oh, well, obviously, man. I mean, John Waters wasn't available.
Well, we tried Peter Angelos first, and then he recommended I call you.
He's a very available individual. He'll call you back anytime. He's got plenty of time for everyone.
That's right.
Sam, let me bring you into the conversation here a little bit and talk about your sister and talk about leukemia and lymphoma and LLS. You guys have been doing this, and I know you guys were amongst the first to reach out to me when my wife was stricken with this. This thing turned into something far more than a bunch of buddies getting together on their bikes and playing ball, as you guys are now into your well into your 30s, from what I understand.
That's right. My brother's further along in his 30s, as I will casually remind him. But we have been raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society now for about 7 years, and through our efforts, we've actually raised over $200,000.
Wow. Good work, guys. Good work.
For the LLS.
And I knew you when you were just knuckleheads playing basketball for fun. Look at what you've done. Look at this.
We're still knuckleheads. Just now it's a far worse basketball that we're playing.
I would argue that basketball's always been pretty bad.
Well, yeah, it's not a beauty affair, especially when you get to the third or the fourth quarter out there. Tell everybody about your sister, in the best way that you know how, and obviously for my wife, having battled this twice, we're pulling for Germany here in the World Cup because the guy that saved her life is from Germany. You did not have a happy ending for your family, and my heart still breaks for you 6 years later. I tip my cap to everything you guys are doing here to keep her spirit alive.
Thanks so much for your support, Nestor. So my sister Rachel, she was diagnosed with lymphoma. She had lymphoma, Hodgkin's lymphoma. She was the most positive person anybody knows. Anybody that knew her knew she had this giant smile. Always was happy to be the life of the party. She actually, when we were doing this as just knuckleheads, as you mentioned, she would find it a little bit annoying because we would come and we would be 16 to 30 people coming outside the house early on a Sunday morning. During her summer vacation, waking her up. But then as we progressed, it got nice for her because all of her friends would be there and participating. And then once she got sick, she obviously loved it. There was only a few years where she was able to participate on the sidelines while she was sick, and we were fundraising for her.
And I remember that.
So this has been just a huge uplifting tournament for me and my family as far as raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. One thing she always mentioned was about how young adults and adolescents, the prevalence of cancer and the mortality of cancer has not changed in the last 100 years. Whereas in children and in elderly, that rate has gone significantly down. Their survival has increased significantly. But in young adults and adolescents, it hasn't. So this is one area of focus that she was really interested in. So raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is kind of targeting that group. And our group is also largely made of young adults. There's a couple of people they're teetering on the elderly, but we target really adolescents and young adults into our tournament. And through our fundraising, we're able to create a profile for the Rachel Minkove page through the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society that is specific for Hodgkin's lymphoma, which hits up mostly young adults.
The Tour de Court can be learned more about at tourdecourt.org. Out on the web. They're also out on Facebook. They're on Twitter. John and Sam Minkove are my friends. They're from Pikesville. They're scattered about now, as all their friends are, but they will have their homecoming and weekend gathering on Father's Day to honor their sister. You can learn more at tourdecourt.org. John, I'm going to bring it back to you. Tell everyone what they can expect here. And I know you've had some celebrities involved in this. You guys shoot videos now and pictures. The thing has really grown up. I know Jay Moore's involved with it. It's become even larger than I think anything that you or Rachel had even dreamed of 6, 7, 8 years ago, right?
That's right. Also, I just want to say that it's the website is tourdecourt.org, but if anybody does want to help out with the cause, you can actually type in the tourdecourt.org/donate, and it'll bring you right to our LLS team page, and we're trying to raise $36,000 for this annual campaign. And as Sam mentioned, we've done 200 total. But to answer your question, I mean, kind of what to expect. It's sort of the usual. It's like, like you said, it's sort of like this big block party. And as Sam said, Rachel, while she mocked it in the early stages, when it was something that it became a communal event and a cause that we would, the community was rallying behind her. She really loved it, and and Rachel, and it's also perfect for her because Rachel was really a connector. She really. She loved getting everyone together, and that's what it is. It's like the ultimate reunion, just everybody of all ages. We always say there's no ages in Baltimore. It's sort of, you have guys. Mel Pacino was 50 when he played, and we've had 13-year-olds play. So it's sort of it's this big block party, and we've had the mayor out the last couple of years. Peter Schmuck has been very involved in the cause. The renowned chiropractor Kenneth Friedman. There's just a lot of D-listers. I mean, I guess Nestor, you maybe were a C+.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what year I was the participant.
You were there 2010.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm looking here on the 2010 here.
Yeah.
All right.
And I recall specifically, actually, that you said, I think you posted a picture on Facebook and said, the things that I do for my fans.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That sounds like my sense of humor.
Exactly. And at that point, it was sort of, it had become, as you mentioned, Rachel had been diagnosed and was battling valiantly. But we hadn't organized our efforts yet. It was kind of you came right before we had any meaningful purpose. But it was.
I remember she met me at the door. Like literally, she was there. She met me at the door. She wasn't well enough to participate, but we exchanged some pleasantries, and I remember having a fun conversation with her. And
that's right. And she kind of was. We went the next year. The next two tournaments. She passed it to the summer of 2012, shortly after the 2012 tournament. That's when it really became a big fun. We got really involved with LLS, and we're aware of Jennifer's battle, and we're glad to hear she's doing well. And I know you've done some great things with the swabs and the ballpark tour and all that stuff. And actually, we're going to have a swabbing station out at the opening ceremonies on in front of my parents' house on Benhurst Road in Pikesville. We're going to try to get as many people to do it. Actually, my brother was actually a bone marrow match for my sister, it's a very important thing to raise awareness for, and I know you do a great job with that too.
Well, this is the beginning. Believe it or not, Sunday will be the anniversary of when I began my tour 3 years ago, my ballpark tour. The pictures are all starting to show up on my Facebook, because it was 3 years to the day, so I'm sharing that. You guys now, this is 24 years for the Tour de Court. You can learn more at tourdecourt.org. You can give, you can show up. If you're old and slow and bad at basketball, maybe they'll let you play. I don't know. You're not looking for participants, right? Like this is at this point you're looking for people to pitch in and show up and be part of the peanut gallery, right?
Sam, are we looking for anybody?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment for the general public. If there's any female participants that want to play, we're a little short on the female Tour de Court, which we started a couple of years ago. So if anyone wants to play out there and they want to text us, I'm sure you can get in touch through Nestor.
The Minkove Brothers need a Title IX program, is what you need over there, I think, right?
Exactly.
You guys still loving baseball and going to games and whatnot? I'm doing my Dear Orioles series here, and we got the World Cup. They got the Caps winning a cup. It's been a crazy cup. John, you live up in New York, the Belmont. We had a Triple Crown winner up there. It's been a nutty week around here.
Well, for the Birds, we got some pennant fever right now. So.
Yeah, that's your punchline there, I'm sure. And with that, we'll let you go back to the Tour de Court. Learn everything out on Twitter and on the website. They're good guys, great family folks here from Pikesville. They lost their sister Rachel 6 years ago and are doing a great turn for LLS, and I hope you support them. I do appreciate our friends at Cole Roofing as well as Howard Bank for sponsoring our WNST charity and community turn. Good luck, good weather this weekend. Happy Father's Day to your family as well, and I hope you have a great turnout. And continue to be the knuckleheads that you are. I love you guys.
Thanks a lot, Nestor. Again, that's tourdecourt.org/donate.
John and Sam Minkove of Pikesville now scattered about doing a community reunion called the Tour de Court, one of the strangest things that I've witnessed and participated in, and now for a great, great cause, raising over $200,000 for LLS. And it's amazing what people can do when they get together and pull the rope the same direction. So tip my cap to the Minkove brothers for doing that to honor their late sister, Rachel, who I knew as well. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, soccer, hockey, Ovechkin, the Cup, diving in fountains, watching bad baseball, watching the U.S. Open. We do it all around here. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.